function? Is it many functions? Is it worthy? Does it have a real value? Is it superficial? Is it profound? Is it needed? So thank you so much for answering this question about art.
It depends on how the art was created. Art is a mirror that allows everyone perceiving the art to see reflections and symbols of what it is they need to see if they are willing to look. So sometimes art can be created through the idea of superficiality or something that's more profound, but it also requires the looker to come from either a superficial or a more profound place in order to get out of it whatever they need. And that part of it is up to them. But it's a mirror that offers an opportunity as a permission slip for people to look deeper within themselves, their consciousness, the archetypal symbols of the collective consciousness. Anything they wish to perceive about themselves can be seen in different kinds of art that are done for different reasons, according to what the belief system of the artist might be.
Hello, Bashar. How are you? My name is Dali. I'm from Chile.
Oh, all right. Good day.
Thank you very much for this experience. Well,
it is our pleasure.
When I was younger, I had an experience that led me to feel shame, guilt, and fear for many, many years. And as a side effect, I became more paranoid and vulnerable about interacting with other people and so on. Yes, and as a side effect, for many years, I developed this sense of vulnerability and paranoia with some other interactions.
Yes.
As fear, like, how can I explain this? I became more paranoid and vulnerable, and somehow irrationally, they get to link to this experience. So a month ago, I decided to work on this, and the reign of terror came to me. But now I see more clarity. But sometimes this anxiety, vulnerability, and paranoia feelings, they come to me, and I would like to know how to deal with them.
Well, you have to always start with what you now believe to be true about yourself in any given situation, because you cannot experience any emotion whatsoever if you don't already have a belief that you're buying into as being more probable than any other belief, as being true for you. So what beliefs do you have that would generate feelings that you're talking about?
Yeah.
What are they? What are they? What do you believe is true?
That someone would say something to me that I will feel vulnerable and more guilty and more ashamed that I have done before.
Why? Why would what someone says make you feel that way if you didn't believe it was true?
Because I guess the fear of guilt or feeling guilty.
You're talking in circles. You're talking in circles. You're saying that I am afraid to investigate the belief because it's going to make me feel more guilty, but the belief is what is making you feel guilty to begin with. So what do you believe you are guilty of?
Actually, for making a mistake to hurt someone.
Like what, for example?
I don't really want to talk about it.
Then I can't help you directly, but I can help you indirectly.
Okay.
You said it was a mistake.
Yeah.
That means you didn't intend to hurt them?
No.
All right. Then why are you punishing yourself for making a mistake? Have you learned from making the mistake that you don't want to do that again?
Yes, I did.
Then if you have learned the lesson, why are you still in the class learning the lesson over and over and over again instead of moving on and applying the lesson that you've learned and then not making the same mistake?
Yeah, so I guess I went into that belief, and then I realized that I was afraid of rejection, actually.
All right.
So I've been working more on self-love.
Yes.
And now it's better.
All right.
So much better. I see with way more clarity. It's just sometimes I still feel this little anxiety, or maybe it's kind of like there's a little bit of emotion that still lingers, but now
that's fine. That's fine. Just keep moving toward the understanding that you are worthy, that you are deserving.
Yeah.
Love yourself more and more, and understand it's all right now and then to make a mistake. It's not the end of the world, because if you're willing to learn from it then you will improve. You will become a different person that will then behave differently in the world toward others. There is no reason for you to feel guilty about that process. It's how many people on your planet learn. So just go along with it. As long as you're willing to learn from the mistake, then there is no reason for you to feel guilty for having made the mistake.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I know.
Now it feels so much better. I think synchronicities brought into my life many of the answers.
Yes, of course. That's how it works.
Yeah, indeed. And it's just sometimes just a little bit. I feel like scared of going out sometimes, but
At that moment, then stay with that. Don't go by it. Don't rush past it. Don't ignore it. Don't suppress it. Use that moment to find out what beliefs still remain within you that would create that anxiety. That's what that moment is for.
Perfect.
All right?
Perfect. May I ask you, is there any kind of affirmation that can help me open more that space?
That's up to you. Because affirmations are nothing more than permission slips that you give yourself to give yourself permission to change. So whatever you're attracted to use, the reason you're attracted to use it is because it will work for you.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I've been meditating. It's been so much better. I just had that main question that helps me so much, Bashar.
All right. Well, obviously, in many ways, you're doing just fine. So the only thing we would suggest is don't be so hard on yourself. You don't deserve it. All right?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Good day.
Thank you so much.
Hey Bashar, this is Michael from Tel Aviv, and I'm happy to be speaking with you. My question has to do with lucid dreaming. You once gave us a permission slip technique on how to wake up in our dream state, and once we do that, we can ask to be taken to the template level reality and change around some agreements, change around the stories we believe we're living. So my question is, if I manage to do that, can I remove all the negative beliefs that I might still be holding on to and wake up the next morning into a reality that's a lot more representative of who I am, of what I want, that is more true to me? Or will that shift be too much for my physical mind to handle? Will the change be too big? Will I recognize the reality once I wake up? So my question really is, what is the best way to utilize the ability to lucid dream once that ability is acquired? Thank you and good day.
You can wake up into a reality that is certainly more representative. You will not necessarily eliminate all of the processes you might need to go through in order to create that reality that is more reflective of your preference. Obviously, you would be able to handle it if you did it because you would be equivalent to that reality. Therefore, the idea that you couldn't handle it would be contrary to that reality. But visiting the template doesn't mean you remove everything. It doesn't erase the idea of the general collective agreement of the game you're playing in the earth physical reality game, as you say. But you can change certain things as long as they don't eliminate processes you believe you actually need in order to experience a deeper appreciation of the new reality that you're creating. So yes, you can change it to some degree. That doesn't mean you can just change everything, because again, that might be another way of saying you're attempting to avoid things that you actually need to experience in order to really create that reality in the way that truly works for you.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you, good day.
Oh, great. How are you?
Perfect. And you?
Very good, thanks. My first
All right.
question is in regards to parallel universes, changing past and changing futures.
Yes, yes.
As far as the changing past, why would jumping from frame to frame change the past? It's the past and our choices that brought us to the present.
Yes. However, remember that if you actually become a different person, which you do, anytime you make any change at all, you're jumping into a different frame. So let's look at this from a space-time perspective logically. Because you create the idea in space-time of continuity or cause and effect, you think that what you went through made you the person you are today. And in a sense, that's true. However, when you finally decide to change, that new person needs a past that may be more logically the path that created that person. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, let's say, let's say I took a picture in the past and I go and look at it, it's still there. Even though
No, it's still here.
It's still from there, is what
No, it's not. It's from here.
Yeah. Would it
You're
change?
creating an idea of a picture that you're looking at in the present as if it actually came from the past, but it doesn't. You're creating that picture in the present. And you're making the continuity assumption that it comes from the past. It doesn't.
So could that picture change in the present?
No.
No, okay.
That picture is that picture. This is one of the things that we address when we talk about the concept that you humans refer to as time travel. There's no such thing in the science fiction sense that you usually portray it. It's all about parallel reality. So we usually use this analogy. Let us say you are 10 years old and someone takes a picture. Now you have that picture, you put it on the table. There's the photograph of the 10-year-old. Now you become 30 and you invent a time machine. And you say, I'm going to go back into the past and I'm going to take a picture next to my 10-year-old self. And so you have that experience. You get in the machine, you go into what you think is the past, you go and find your 10-year-old self, or at least what you believe to be your 10-year-old self. You stand next to that particular 10-year-old, you have someone snap a picture. Now you have a picture of the 30-year-old and the 10-year-old, and you put that on the table when you come back to the present, so to speak. But you still have both pictures. There is a picture of the 10-year-old by himself and a picture of a 10-year-old with a 30-year-old, which obviously by definition, since both pictures exist, must be a different 10-year-old. So you just went into a parallel reality where you've taken a picture with a different 10-year-old that happens to look like you, assuming that it's actually you, but actually has nothing to do with your history.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, I will.
Because both pictures simultaneously exist on their own. Each frame is its own frame. You don't change the frame in a movie film strip. You go to another frame to change the image.
Yeah, I get that.
All the film strip frames all exist. You set your course through them with your consciousness as to what frames are relevant for you. So that's why we're saying when you change yourself, different frames may be relevant for who you now are. And you may not remember that you've changed the past to make sense of your present new self. It may always seem to be the past you've always had, but you don't actually know that. It just looks that way.
Okay.
So 5 minutes ago, the you are now, or the you used to be, may have had a completely different past than what you remember as the past right now as the new person you are. But it will organize itself through continuity in physical space-time to make itself seem as if, oh yes, I've always had that past. But that's not necessarily true.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's a lot to think about. Thank you.
All right, play with it. You're welcome. Thank you. Yes?
One more. When did all that is think of another? When did it occur and what was before?
You're asking a space-time question. Remember, space and time are subject to all that is. All that is not subject to space and time.
So it was just always there.
Existence only has one quality.
To exist.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's not even an always, because that's a space-time word.
Yeah.
It just is. Does that help?
It will.
All right. Have fun with it.
I know this is a question, but do I have time for one more question?
Yes.
What does Jesus Christ's life, death, and rebirth represent for us here in physical reality? I'm also having a little trouble interpreting the dying for our sins part.
Yes, that is kind of, again, a human interpretation based on a fear-based belief system. The idea was to actually show you, if you go a little bit beyond the idea of the death, what came after.
Life.
Right? The idea of the resurrection, yes?
Reincarnation?
Resurrection.
Would it be translated to maybe reincarnation?
Not in the way that most people on your planet mean it, but the next transmission we're going to give next month of your time is all about the idea of reincarnation and how to look at it differently. So we can explain some of that later. But the idea right now is the whole process of an ascended master or a learned being going through that process on your behalf or on everyone else's behalf was to simply demonstrate the idea that while the body may seem to be impermanent, you as a being, as an entity, transcend time and space, and therefore no death is actually the end of anything.
Yeah. Okay, so the dying for our sins part, is that...
Let me retranslate it.
Yeah.
Yeshua went through that process and allowed the idea of the physical representation to seem to die in order to go beyond and show that a resurrection is the continuation of consciousness and the continuation of life beyond death, that you are greater beings than that. And the so-called dying for your sins simply means, let me show you that you have fear-based belief systems that are limiting you from understanding what I'm about to show you.
Okay.
So, in other words, the fear-based belief system is what is colloquially being referred to as your sins, because they place limitations on your consciousness that don't need to necessarily be there.
Yeah, okay.
Does that help?
It does.
All right, then thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, Bashar. This is Jethro from Amsterdam. My question is about what is called spiritual bypassing. It is a term that pops up lately a lot in my experience in the so-called spiritual communities. And it states that people are using knowledge or spiritual knowledge and teachings in a way so that they don't have to work on themselves and not have to face what's happening on their inside, and basically to stay in a constant positive state or in a elevated state. My question is, as this could be also an exploration of the higher self or a spirit, is there even such a thing as spiritual bypassing? All right. Thank you, and goodbye.
In the way that has just been described, no. Because the very idea of attempting to avoid looking at certain things within the self that might be necessary for the evolution of your spiritual growth is a contradiction in terms and a completely different energy state. Therefore, the moment that someone avoids, they are actually going down in vibration into the negative states. Therefore, they're bypassing nothing. So the idea is, yes, you can have moments where you're focused on the idea of your relationship with the higher mind, and it may not involve in that moment needing to look at something within yourself that you're attempting to avoid, but it can give you what you need to be better capable of handling that when it comes time for you to look at those things. But avoiding looking at those things is completely missing the point of having actual spiritual growth.
How can we use this energy that the moon gives us in every cycle so we can benefit our lives? And also, how does it connect to the women's monthly period? Thank you.
Well, energetically, they are deeply connected with the vibrations of emotionality. So you can explore different aspects of your emotionality during the different cycles of the moon. If you're asking for a physical explanation, well, you can look that up on your own in your internet, because it's easily understood why there are different phases of the moon with regard to its position in its orbit around your Earth relative to the sun. But the idea energetically is that you can use it to gauge the idea of energy within your physical and emotional systems to represent the idea of the waxing and waning of life, birth, death, so on and so forth, in any way, shape, or form that you desire to use it according to the permission slip that you've attracted to use and the definitions that you apply to that particular permission slip. So we leave that up to you, but it's strongly connected to the vibrations of your emotionality and your physical cycles, because it represents the whole idea in and of itself of cycles in physical reality, of light and dark and in between.
Hello, Bashar. Nice to speak with you again.
And to you, good day.
So I spoke with you some months ago, and you suggested one thing for me to do is to get an animal companion.
Yes.
And I said that I travel too much. And I thought I was going to stay somewhere, but I started traveling again, and I kind of just enjoy it too much. Is there a way that I can just interact with the pets and animals I meet along the way?
Absolutely. Animal companions don't have to necessarily live with you all the time. You can trade them out per location.
Okay. What I noticed about the animals that kind of made a difference is how cats can kind of come and they want affection and then they go away.
Yes.
Is that sort of what you were suggesting? It's like you don't always need it, it just comes and goes?
Correct. And cats are very adept at sensing exactly what you need and sensing when you don't need it.
Yeah. So about the subject of traveling, I really wish to keep traveling a lot.
All right, we'll keep doing so.
Though I also thought about buying land as an investment in a place that really feels like somewhere I keep coming back to.
All right, well, you can do both, you know.
I'm not sure if I feel excited about it because it feels like a lot of work, and my main motivation is kind of financial, so I don't know.
All
if
right,
it's
stop. You have to examine whether or not you're dampening the excitement with your negative definitions, because when you say, well, I'm not sure if I feel excited about it, then obviously you don't feel excited about it. And the idea is that you have to determine whether or not you're killing the excitement with your definitions or whether it's truly not your excitement. So you have to have honest self-investigation about all the things you think that buying land is going to do that will bring you down to a level where you won't enjoy your life, and find out if those definitions are actually true or if you're just buying into things that have nothing to do with what could actually be experienced by you. So when you do that, you will know clearly whether or not buying land is truly representative of your passion or not. And if it does turn out to be representative of your passion, then by definition, buying land would never interfere with any other expression of your passion like traveling. They would work harmoniously together.
Thank you. That's very clear.
All right.
Is there anything I can personally do to accelerate the open contact besides the following the formula and what I'm already doing?
No.
Okay. I've had this idea to make an open contact festival or retreat or restival specifically for those who are excited about ET contact.
That's a good idea. That's a good idea. And since that's an expression of following your passion, that's what will accelerate the possibility.
Okay. But is there anything specific about that you'd suggest?
Do what you believe needs to be included as long as it's in alignment with your true passion.
Okay.
It will be exactly what it needs to be.
I also want to expand my audience and share more of my gifts. Do you have any suggestions for that?
Can you put yourself farther out? Can you advertise yourself broader?
Yeah, maybe I need an assistant for that because it's kind of challenging.
All right. Allowing yourself to attract an assistant can be representative of your passion. We're not saying you have to do every single aspect of something you're passionate about. Attracting someone to help you can be part of your passion.
Okay. I often get caught in comparison with other channelers and energy workers and astrologers, and
when you say you get caught, what do you mean?
Like I compare myself, or I think that I'm not good enough.
You have no business comparing yourself to anyone. You're unique, they're unique. You cannot compare yourself to anyone. It doesn't work. So you have no business doing so.
Okay.
Do it the way that works for you.
Okay. So I have a question about moving too fast in life. I feel like I move really fast and I really love it. And
then slow down into your true pace, and you will move as fast as you can possibly go. Sometimes you have to slow down to go faster. If you are moving fast truly because you love it, then that's one thing. But if you're moving fast because you're desperate to think that you might miss something or won't accomplish something, then you're doing it out of fear and it's not your true pace. Your true pace will feel fast enough when you align with it.
Okay.
So again, always examine why you're doing what you're doing in the way you're doing it. If you're doing it because you think you're going to miss something, then that tells you you're doing it from a negative fear-based reason. Slow down and trust that the way your life unfolds and the rate at which it unfolds is perfect. When you find the true pace, it will feel absolutely correct, and everything that happens will fall into place in perfect timing. Remember, it's not about time, it's about timing.
And what about if I have a lot of like desires or cravings for like coffee or cacao, things that make me move faster?
Again, you have to examine why you're doing that. Because again, if you're doing it for negative fear-based reasons, it's not going to work for you and it will burn you out. What's your hurry? What is your hurry?
I don't know. I just want to accomplish as much as I can and experience.
What is your hurry? Do you not understand? Do you not understand that if you actually are synchronized with your perfect timing, that you will by definition accomplish everything that you actually chose to accomplish in this life? But that paradoxically, if you actually force yourself to hurry up and rush ahead, you actually will miss several of the things you wanted to accomplish because you won't be in the present, which is where they need to happen. You'll be rushing ahead, thinking of the future, hurrying up to be somewhere you're not, instead of being where you actually are, which would allow things to manifest much more quickly. Because things can't manifest when you're not present. So sometimes, again, as we say, you may need to slow down a little bit in order to actually help things move ahead more quickly.
That's very clear. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do you have thoughts on polyamory?
Whatever it is that someone is attracted to do that is in agreement by consensus with everyone else, as long as there is clear communication about what is going on with everyone so that they are making a conscious choice in those arrangements, then that's fine.
Is there a way to kind of transcend jealousy in those settings, or is that always a part of our human experience?
No, it is not. Jealousy means you think you're missing something. That you're not getting what you need. It is a poor me situation. I'm deprived definition.
Right.
So you're not trusting the way your life unfolds, and you're not actually living your passion.
Yeah. I finally met somebody who feels like a good match, but since that happened, it feels like I've like lost a lot of my desire. It's almost like I was more into the chase than actually having. I don't know if there's any way that I can really drop in.
Then do an investigation about what it is you actually got out of that and the reasons for why you experienced it in the way that you did. You need some honest self-investigation about why you choose to do the things you do. So take some time to do that. Don't be in a hurry to do anything else other than figure out why you do what you do. That's what will help you the most.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
When people exchange sexual energy or even kiss, some people say that there's like a DNA transfer and that people take on energy from others. To what extent is that true? And how long does that energy stick around?
The idea is you are simply matching frequencies with the other being, and it sticks around as long as you desire to match frequencies with them. And then when you change your frequency...
Some people are very dogmatic about that.
I understand.
Do you have any perspective on the importance of gay, lesbian, and bisexual people and other queer people in that planetary evolution or ascension?
It is important for the evolution on your planet because it shows people on your planet that there are many different ways to express the soul and love.
And on individual levels, is there something more significant that we can cultivate?
Well, it can be. Yes, it can be, but we're going to leave that up to every individual who experiences it.
That was all of my questions, too. You answered every single one.
Thank you very much.
You're amazingly synchronistic, and I love you so much.
We love you unconditionally. Please move forward in your life in the best possible way for you, paying attention to why you do what you do. That's all you need to do.
Okay. I hope to meet you soon. I hope that all of our extraterrestrial friends can land and we can have a big party.
Someday that will be possible.
I look forward to it. Thank you, Bashar.
You are welcome.